Hello, mixtresses and mixters. This is mixtressrae. You're watching Mixtress video. So I'm going to do kind of a first impressions of Threads of Fate Weaver Tarot Rose Edition. It's also sort of, spoiler alert, going to be the only impressions I have of this particular deck because I can already tell it's not staying with me. But I want to give a huge thank you to Angela who sent this to me. And she was aware that I might not be able to work with it, but she was kind enough to send it to me. And I've had, I think over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've had 5 different people offer to send me tarot decks. And I'm saying yes to almost everyone, as long as I am interested in what is being offered. So this is my first sort of like, it's almost like, it's not a review copy because it wasn't sent to me by the artists that created this deck, but I am going to do a review of it. So yeah, I mean, if you yourself for some reason are interested in sending me a deck to feature on my channel, I will do so in some way, whether that be an unboxing first impressions, a review, or a like in a pick-a-pile reading or something. And of course, it would be featured more extensively on my channel if it were something that I was going to keep around. But that's not the case with this, unfortunately. So I am going to tell you guys what I feel about this tarot deck. I guess I should show you just in case. So this video is for anyone that might be interested in buying this. These are my first impressions. Honest first impressions. Yeah. So this tarot deck is, and I'm aware that Threads of Fate is a thing, and there are several different versions of it. I don't know what they are all called. Did I show you this? Box is gorgeous. As you might expect, the aesthetics of this whole thing are very on point. It does have a guidebook. I haven't really looked at this because, to be honest, so that's one of the reasons why this isn't a thorough review. I haven't really looked at the guidebook because what is more interesting to me is that there's this little card, which, if you want to pause and look at everything that it says here, there's a little symbolism key here that I think is pretty cool. So like, it's a very sparse, here are the backs. This is my favorite card in the whole deck too. 2 of Swords. So there's a little key with the symbols. So you can, look, I feel like you don't need a guidebook with this. It's a very sparse, spacious, symbolic, sort of sigil-y type of deck. And I feel like you don't really need a guidebook with something like this. But that being said, I have not looked at the guidebook, so I can't give you a proper review on that. I think the backs are absolutely gorgeous. So the courts are renamed. I forgot what they were all called. I think it says on this sheet, on this little Seeker, Conqueror, Sovereign, Ruler. So Seeker is Page, Conqueror is Knight, Sovereign is Queen, and Ruler is King. So this would be the King of Cups then. Okay, I'm just going to kind of flip through it while I'm talking. This is a sticky matte cardstock. It's not completely rubber, but it's still sticky. It's not swishy. Those are the 3 different kinds of matte. They're swishy, sticky, and rubber. Swishy's the best. Sticky, and rubber is the worst. So I'll start with the good aspects of this deck. It is beautiful, right? It's beautiful. It's spacious. I mean, I know there are a lot of tarot decks like this at this point, and I don't know the history of Threads of Fate, but I do know that it's been around a while. So I think this was one of the first that looked like this. This was probably a trailblazer, but I don't know that for sure, because at this point there are a lot of decks that look like this, kind of. Oh, and I haven't said, this deck costs $80 US. And I don't know if that's including shipping or not. So this is a very expensive tarot deck. And it comes in many different flavors. And, okay, so that's the good. The bad is it's a few things. Sticky matte, that's a downside for me personally. But a lot of people would like this cardstock, or the finish on this cardstock. It's not shuffleable to me. Somebody with more hand strength could maybe do it, because I'm about this close to being able to riffle shuffle it, but I can't quite do it. So somebody with, I mean, I don't know how to like conceptualize what my hand strength is, but it's not quite up to par with shuffling this deck. And because it's sticky matte, it's hard to overhand shuffle because the cards all clump together. It's not really doing it right now because my hands aren't currently sweaty, but if you have any kind of moisture on your hands, you're leaving fingerprints on this deck, which is another downside to sticky matte in my opinion. I don't like decks that collect fingerprints because, you know, I got oily skin. It doesn't work for me. So the main reason why this deck isn't going to work for me is that sensory experience of me not being able, like I don't feel invited to touch this deck. This deck. I hate how many times I say that. Okay. The other thing is I'm really left cold by this symbolism. Or maybe not the symbolism in general. I think it's more the composition of the images. It's not really, it's like I'm just getting nothing. Divination wise, I'm getting nothing from Threads of Fate. It's not singing to me. It's not, see, there's a little greasy fingerprint right there. It's not speaking to me. I'm not getting anything intuitively from it. And I know a lot of people like this deck, but this particular First Impressions is kind of, you know, for anybody that wants to be, I should have said this at the beginning, but this is for anybody that wants to be talked out of it. Because I've seen the Instagram photos and product photos for this particular deck in all its different incarnations over the years that I've been collecting tarot decks. And it's enticing. It really draws you in, you know? The product photos are beautiful. Everything is just like so aesthetic, so on point. And it makes you want it. I will say there are many flaws throughout the deck of just like little pinpoints where the ink didn't go through, so it's just white. So, you know, and like, you know, something like that is a small thing, right? But when you've paid $80 for something, every little thing like that, for me anyway, is going to stick out. And just something that I would want to know if I were thinking about buying this. It is, I didn't even show like the edges, but it came edged in black, which of course is nice. I love a deck that comes edged in black. So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how good it looks in my particular video, but I'm sure you've seen, if you came to this video because you're thinking about buying this, you've probably seen other flip-throughs of it, right? And they probably looked so good. But yeah, I mean, obviously not everybody's going to have the same opinions as I do, but I am just divination-wise, intuitive-wise, I'm getting psychic-wise, I'm getting nothing from this. And I don't say that to, you know, be shitty to anyone. It's just how I feel about this product that is in my hands right now. And I would want someone to tell me that if I were thinking about buying it. Again, not that you'll have the same opinion, but in case you do, you could save yourself $80 and skip this one. Especially if, like, because another thing with something like this, because I know it has at least 3, 4, 5, 6 different versions of this one deck, and it does make some people feel like they might want to be a completist and get all of them. And of course, if you can comfortably afford it and you want to have all of them, it's not a problem for you. But if you can't afford it and you're buying not only one $80 copy of this deck, but multiple $80 copies of this deck, that can be a problem if you can't afford it. So, yeah, so that's basically just a first impressions, but it's giving me nothing. So, I mean, except the backs. The backs they do that. Just seeing the stack of cards, I want to pick it up and I want to use it. But then I touch it and it's really, really fucking thick. I mean, this is like, let's measure it, shall we? I love measuring the depth of decks. The girth. Oh my God, okay. It's 1.5 inches, almost exactly. And then for you centimeter girls out there, yeah, I've had this ruler since like fucking grade school. What? 3.8 centimeters. So, yeah, you guys want to watch me try to shuffle it? I'm not going to do a terrible reenactment. I'm actually going to try. Could be worse. I've had worse. But it's hard to push the cards together because they're so sticky. It confuses me just personally. Like, why are we doing the sticky mat, guys? Why are we still doing the sticky mat? It's just, and maybe people with bigger hands, stronger hands, it's really not a problem for you, but it is a legit problem for me. It feels like I can't get the energy moving. And if I can't get the energy moving, I mean, there's a reason that I choose cartomancy as my form of divination, because I want to get the energy moving, and I can't with this. So that's the main downside. I can't get the energy moving, which is because of the cardstock. And I'm not getting any intuitive hits from the artwork. So those are kind of the two most important things that you need in a tarot deck, right? Of course, all opinions may vary. Leave your opinion of this Threads of Fate Rose Edition down below.